Okay, I'll now start sharing my screen. Let me know when you all can see my screen.
It's visible.
Awesome. Great. Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Gaurav. I'm joining in from Bangalore, and welcome to the July episode of our BTP Garage. In today's session, I am being joined by Gopal, Thorsten, Cecily, and they are the experts who will be talking about this nice use case and also very key topic when you are developing cloud applications. Observability for those applications becomes very crucial. So more on the mission would be talked about the experts over here, and that's the pictures that you see, just putting faces behind the names. And I just also would like to thank you for making this garage such a successful series over the past years and on a monthly basis. So keep your support coming in. Also share this with your colleagues, your counterparts who are not yet aware of this, and make them register to the series so that they can also join such wonderful sessions talked by our experts. As I told, more on the mission would be highlighted by the experts who have been joined on this session. Before I hand it over to them, I would just like to bring your attention to also some of the hands-on workshops that you are driving out there. As you can see, the topics that we have covered so far are build, DataSphere integration suite as well. We still have some open seats in the upcoming workshops that you see on this list. So if you are near to this region, feel free to register yourselves or share with your colleagues. And without further ado, I would hand it over to Thorsten and over to you.
Thank you a lot. Let me take over screen sharing. Just a second. And you should see a blank screen actually. So my name is Thorsten Sandfuchs. Very warm welcome from me. I'm super excited to be here and diving with you in a very exciting topic as well, which is observability and monitoring the cloud workload that you can explore in our current mission implementing full stack observability. So sometimes, and in many of the other sessions and missions, we are just deploying something to the cloud, right? We are now actually in that second phase of a life cycle where we need to find out, or we want to find out what's inside of that black box and how is this black box behaving in the cloud. So it's an art and an engineering art that we are all exposed to in day two operations. And I'm very happy to share our insights here, what SAP has in store for you. And Gopal will walk you through the mission as well in a live demo. We are more than happy to get any questions, so don't hesitate. Our experts are as well available in the chat. For example, Carsten from the cloud logging team will be happy to answer any questions that you have on top of the presentation in the chat, or we have some Q&A in the later part of the session. Without further ado, I want to first bore you with a couple of slides. Sorry for that, but just to set the context as well straight. Observability for CAP services inside SAP means basically for you as customers, you have the ability to address and approach this topic in two ways. The one being here on the left-hand side of the screen, problem detection, which is usually done with central observability tools, like, for example, our SAP Cloud ALM suite. It helps to do problem detection, to do a unified monitoring across all the services that you probably booked or that your workload is actually connected to while being deployed into the cloud. We offer from these experience context-sensitive navigation to our so-called local observability tools. And this is the focus of our mission and the mission today, how we set it up. And we are going to expand that mission as well over time. But today we are really looking into the so-called problem resolution part. So really looking under the carpet, more or less, understanding a bit how can we put more data and collect more data off the black box. How can we then measure the black box and how it's behaving. And all of that is based on telemetry data. And the right-hand side, our problem resolution bit on the mission, is being delivered by our SAP Cloud Logging service, which is the go-to service for exactly your PaaS and CAP services, which we now exemplified on one of our major apps in the mission. And a major app that we are all talking about is the incident management app. So this is the system that we are monitoring. It's as well creating incidents. So you can do, usually the scenario is that somebody is opening at incidents in high, medium, or low, and then performing certain tasks. In our mission today, we are going to focus on, let me just check whether this is advancing, on the Cloud Foundry side of the house. The mission as well, and other missions, as you know, are able to deploy the same content on Kuma runtime, but today we are going to focus on the Cloud Foundry runtime. And especially, as I said, we are observing the incident management application with the cloud logging service, as you will see in a second. Just one small slide, and then we are ready to go to the mission. This is the black box like we saw. And what this black box is being exposed to is user or synthetic health checks. So there is a constant flow of data usually, and system people are interacting with that service. And now if you think about observability and monitoring, there are different measurement points that can be introduced in such a system. So this is the whole plethora of possible use cases. So it starts with really measuring the users themselves with real user monitoring, measuring the synthetic user interactions. But again, our focus of decision is really to get into the beef of such a workload in terms of distributed system monitoring. So measuring the system, how it interacts with microservices, as well as performing log analytics monitoring and custom telemetry monitoring, as well as health and exception monitoring. So custom telemetry, for example, is the case where you, as well as developers, will learn in a mission how to extend the code with additional log lines, additional metrics, additional traces in order to do performance analysis on the incident management app and how to really tailor make your service even. So we will run from really high level to very deep and relevant information that you can then explore in our cloud logging service to find out root cause. To perform root cause analysis, or as well just judge the system state, because sometimes the system is just happily working, the system is healthy, we just see how people are accessing it, and we can be sure, that nobody has a bad experience. And that's always the optimal case. So our mission that we briefly as well saw before, and then I will hand over to Gopal, is basically done in two major parts. After discovering and getting into the basics of it, we are implementing, and we are not implementing the incident management app itself, right? We are just setting up, for example, the collection of the data. We are setting up and introducing new log lines. We are setting up trace and metrics. This is really a bit of coding that we have in order to tailor make the observability experience. And then we are going to show you here in this deploy and test part how to actually use cloud logging and where you can then dig out the data again and how to judge upon that. So without further ado and boring you with more slides, let's get into the code of things and handing over to Gopal.
Thanks a lot, Thorsten, for setting the context. And hopefully my screen is visible to all now.
Yes, it is. I see the Discovery
Perfect.
Center.
Yeah, great. So as Thorsten already explained the overview of the mission, like what are all being covered. So I will just take you through the implementation steps, which will, let me just, go to the use case. So as part of the implementation, we will see how we can do the observability implementation for the Cloud Foundry runtime. And in the mission, we also cover the Kima runtime as well. So for today's scope, it will be the Cloud Foundry runtime. So I will go to the next part, which is basically implementations first section, which is adding logs to the application. So the prerequisite for this whole implementation is that you need to have the incident management base application running. So how do you do it? So we already have a tutorial in Tutorial Navigator where you can develop the CAP application, which is a sample incident management application, uh, and then deploy it to the Schema or the Cloud Foundry runtime. So once you have it, then we have to go to the next section, and the next section is about adding a custom log in the application. So for that, we just have few lines of code that we need to add in the application. So I can just copy, go to the Business Application Studio and paste these lines of code. And what I'm doing here is basically adding a custom line of log here. So this log will just tell me that for what incident ID there was a, let's say, failed request to modify the incident. So I can just add it here. So just few lines. I can also set the log level to debug or yeah, info or whatever is required based on the requirement. So once I have it, I can just do a CTS watch. Now the app will start locally in the Business Application Studio, and let's open it in. And I will now try to modify close incident. So ideally, there should be a log coming here, which will say that it's coming from processor service because we have defined the log level for that processor service. And let's say I create an incident test, just give it a customer, and I will just keep it closed for the use case. So I kept it closed, and if I try to edit and modify the status of it or the agency level of it, so it should not allow me. So I got an error here. But for the operator, we already generated a local log here. And if you see, the log is coming from this processor service, a custom log. Uh, the message which we have printed is that incident with the incident ID has been already closed. So this is just an example, and we can do much more, but this is what we just show, like, okay, how do you add a custom log in the application? Uh, Also, the framework also generates quite some logs, which is coming here. Now, in the next section, we can move. So I go to the next card of the mission. And here we add some libraries basically which are needed to enable telemetry. So CAP comes with a library called CAP-JS telemetry. So this is a library which we are going to use, and this library will enable the metrics traces collection in the application. So I will just modify something before adding it to the application. So yeah. So now that we have the app here, I will just add this library. Uh, let's Perfect. So this will take few seconds and add the required dependencies in the project, which will enable the telemetry data. So now that it's added, I can again do a CDS watch and launch the application. So while the app opens, I can be back to the mission. And here we also have some steps. So here we are defining that what is the target where we want to stream this telemetry data. So we are saying that the kind defines where do this data goes to. So here we will be pushing it to the cloud logging service. And I can also add the configuration in my app here and launch the application. So the app is running here, and if I go back to the logs, if you see here in my console, uh, we have post request and SQLite was being used. So you can see the different duration for each of these queries, which were spent like the read was for 12 milliseconds and so on, the whole breakdown. And this is a local logging, and later down the line, when we deploy this to the production environment, then these logs will be on these metrics will be also visible in the cloud logging service. We can also see the DB pool size. So since it's the SQLite, we have only one thread. And since no execution is happening, so we have one thread available, zero pending. So that shows again some set of metrics. And now we can go to the applications configuration. And let me just see, where do I push? Yeah, in the require section, I can also define the code which will push my data to the cloud logging service. So I just add it here, and then the configuration is loaded. I think I have missed one bracket. Yeah, perfect. So that's all. And all it takes is basically these few lines of code to enable metrics and trace collection from the CAP application. So once this is done, uh, I can go back to the mission again and go to the next section. So here we saw these local telemetry data, and the CAP-based telemetry plugin basically does the magic of enabling these metrics collection. But if, let's say, there is a use case where you also want to have a custom metrics for the application, and here what we have done is we also have given an example where we want to count the number of high urgency incidents as part of the incident management application, just so the operator knows if there are more incidents which are being created. So for that, the steps are again given here, like saying you create a server.js file. We are also creating a meter called incidents urgency high. And for this counter, basically, if there is a new incident which is created with high urgency, we have just written this custom code. We plus one in the counter. So we add a count that, okay, from zero, it become one, two, three as the incidents are getting created with high urgency. And if, let's say, one incident was processed and closed, we reduce the counter's value. So we get the real number of open incidents which are having high urgency. So I can just paste it in the application again. Let's say, I just created a file and pasted my code here. And with this, the app is already configured with this new set of metrics or custom metrics, and I can launch it. I will just see if I can create a high urgency incident and if the logs, local logs, get it or not. So I can say test. And I set the high urgency here, and I can again go back to the application. And here we have a lot of logs getting coming. So it will take a couple of seconds to be visible here. So while it comes, the next steps are preparing for production. So once my basically app is configured, I can go to the next set. Yeah, next card. So here, basically, we have the enabling observability in the Kima Cloud Foundry runtime. So for that, we have to add a resource. So this is the cloud logging service instance. The service is cloud logging plan is standard, and then we just have to add the configuration to enable these endpoints to receive the metrics and trace data, and then we can build and deploy the application. So I can go to the applications MTA. And while we came here, you can also see this high urgency incident custom metrics data is visible. The value is one because we created one high urgency incident. It's coming from the incident's urgency high, and the tenant is T1. So we have all this required data for the custom metrics. And the last part will be just adding the uh, cloud logging service here, do the correct indentation, and then we are good to basically deploy. So to save time, we already have deployed the application, and it's here. So the incident management app is here. Also, the cloud logging dashboard is also loaded. So after the local development is done, we can go to the application. I come to the cloud logging service. I will also do a few things like create a couple of high urgency incidents because we had a custom metrics there which was counting the open high urgency incidents, right? So I come here, I say, let's say garage session as a title of the incident, some values, set the urgency at high and create the incident. So when I created the incident, the telemetry module pushed all the data to the cloud logging service. And here in the cloud logging service dashboard, I can see the overview of the runtime and the apps deployed there. So I can see we have incident management service, and then there are instances of the service and some data like the average response time and so on. So I can also go to the next part, which is the logs and requests here. So I can see there was a post request for the processor service. This was the one when I created a new incident, these post requests were triggered. I can also see the application logs. For example, uh, there was some debug logs generated by the application that's coming here. And from the runtime logs also, so I had restarted the app and there was also some failure because of out of memory issue. So I can see the runtime logs where I can see that the app is starting here, and if there was crash also that can be visualized. So these are few logs here. Here you can see that there is a crash also happening, which is because of out of memory. So cloud logging service also gives this capability to figure out what were the crashes which came to the application. So I come to the crash dashboard, and you can see there were three crashes at 10:30, 10:30 a.m. of my time, and then there was one more at 12 p.m. So these were the crashes, and total four crashes in the application. And I can also see the reason here. So uh, the reason was crash, and the cause was out of memory. So the memory, like basically there was more load on the application. So this crash was happening, and I increased the memory quota for the application, and now the app is working fine. So this is another capability which helps you quickly determine if there's a problem in the application, what could be the reason for such failures, and when that failure happened. And then also you can act to resolve based on these errors. So this is about like the logs basically. If I go to the next section, which is open telemetry dashboard here, so I can also see some traces coming here, and we will go in detail of these traces uh, in some time. So these are some trace data and trace IDs which are coming. I also have metrics here which are giving me some critical information of the application. So this will have, let's say, the incident management. So we have the DB pool metrics which are getting collected. We also have incidents high urgency. This was our custom metrics data. We have the CPU's information also. So all these metrics are getting collected by the application, and there are default charts and gauzes which are given by the cloud logging service. So what I will also do is quickly filter for this high urgency incidents. So if I hover over here, it will show me the number of high urgency incidents which were there in the system. So if you see the values too, because after the deployment, I had two high urgency incident created. So this is my custom metrics. So once we have the custom metrics, and if I still want to go in detail of the logs, I can go to the Discover section, and here I will just remove this. So I have all these logs which are generated by the application. I can add my custom message, like filter for the messages if I want to just see the messages generated by the application, the logger who is generating it. For example, the incident SRV, incident management service is generating it, the levels, and so on. So this will help me understand the type of log from where it is coming and so on. So once I analyze the logs, I can also see my metrics and traces. So these are again some metrics traces which are generated, and I can create custom dashboards from it. So once we have metrics and traces, so let's say we have some queries written which takes a lot of time, and I want to analyze how much time it is taking. So I can go to observability here and go to trace analytics. I can increase the span to, let's say, last 20 minutes to get some more data. So you can see there were some post requests and so on. So I can go to the traces section, choose one of the post requests, and I can see the breakdown of this post request and how much time each of these queries had taken. I can go to some other trace which have some less information. So let's say this one. So I did a post request, and then there was a read on the draft. and then there was client preparation and so on, then create request happen. So this is the trace analytics that comes from the application. So that's what is covered as part of the mission in the next section. So after the app is deployed, let me go to the next one. We can launch it. We see these metrics, starts, data, and then the last section which we do is create a custom dashboard which shows the high urgency incidents. And then we also do the trace analytics here and see the traces of the application during the different set of requests which are generated. So that's all in terms of the demo from my side. Anything to add from Thorsten or Carsten?
No, thanks a lot, Gopal. There were already first questions, and more than happy to stay a bit in the demo part if there are online questions. I think that would be possible as well to unmute, and then we can directly dive into some of the topics. What we saw is basically that with very low effort, you can get on quickly, right? SAP is providing you with a lot of local observability capabilities and basic best of breed use cases that you can apply directly after you executed the first steps of the mission. For example, like binding the application to the cloud logging services. And this really follows our strategy to help you with as much as possible and with very little code insights and with a prefabricated set and a lower entry barrier. I hope you find that very attractive as well. The built-in flexibility on the other side, that is the second equation of our demo, is that you have a lot of customization options to make it really tailor-made to your need. And you saw with the memory issue that we are still here in a playground scenario, which exactly is set up to give you some indications of certain situation happening, and yeah, this is how we all learn, right? And this is the main purpose of SAP BTP Garage sessions and as well the missions, to getting the hands dirty. So if there are any open questions, don't hesitate to bring them to us, or raise your voice. As well, general questions to the mission can be posted. If there are no additional questions, so one of the questions, perhaps, if this is not visible in the recording, was, is this available for CAP Java as well? And the answer is yes. So the incident management application that we so far have in the mission is a Node.js application. But the instrumentation from an open telemetry side, as well as the consumption and the experience that we see here, will be is available for CAP Java. There is even a bit, I would say, more elaborate view on which we are not able to show now because we don't have Java in the setup configured. But the Java, as many of you know, have a rather huge set of relevant metrics like Java memory pooling and garbage collection times and whatsoever, and cloud logging service is able to with the instrumentation of OpenTelemetry, visualize that as well. So these are all factors that we put into the system that help you get going as quickly as possible with the system. And it would be the same experience, right? I mean, that's perhaps as well something to just spend a minute on. We are showing you this basically based on Node.js, but the screens will be the same for Java. And you can, even if you have a mixed workload, for example, some teams are developing Node.js and other microservices developed with Java, that would be all then landing in the same dashboards, and you can mix and match the two together depending on your personal needs. There is a second question. Can I have this telemetry and instrumentation on the trial platform? At the moment, the trial platform allows you to, as far as I know, deploy this and do the instrumentation. That's correct. for the cloud logging service, what you require is our so to say dev plan. It's a very low price point that you would need to have, but it's not part of the trial system at the moment. So there is a relevant section where you can enable, so to say, a dev version of cloud logging service, which you can as well then connect to the trial services in a cross-consumption scenario, so to speak. Thanks for raising that question as well, Rahul. And but generally, yes, but there is a small dev plan provisioning required before.
You can also unmute yourself, colleagues, if you have questions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perhaps one, because that's as well hinting in the question, perhaps availability of telemetry. One thing to note is that open telemetry is an open standard, right? So we are here following the community approach of as well providing vendor neutral instrumentation. And that's something that is very dear to our heart as well. And it allows a very flexible instrumentation. So this is as well not proprietary SAP instrumentation, but an open ecosystem around open telemetry. We skipped that part of the presentation a bit, but you can read that as well in the mission and the related reference links. But SAP is playing in that field in a very open fashion, so to speak.
Yep.
Check the
On
questions
starting
again.
the mission,
Yeah.
on starting the mission, feel free to start the mission, folks. So, it's free of cost. There's no charge to it, and the experts are behind the scenes to help you out over there. So, yeah. There was also one question in the Q&A section, which I think Carsten already answered. But Thorsten, if you can also, make it public and answer to the round. Yeah.
Yes, I didn't see that part. Thank you. So the question in the Q&A session, is our full stack CAP application also connected to master data using API Business Hub? Do errors reported for destinations also get captured here post CAP deployment? So Carsten already rightfully answered that outgoing requests are usually captured by OpenTelemetry. So spans are then of the kind client and are generated, sorry, and are generated and part of the trace. So you saw at the moment in the demo, you saw basically the local traces in that waterfall, but then there is another color code with the remote calls if you have instrumented remote services and other microservices. And there are these client spans. But the master data service itself is not reporting something back. So we can identify all the outgoing requests. We can identify as well their performance, right? To what extent they are successful, unsuccessful, fast, or slow, and whatsoever. But the master data service so far is not sending any trace data back.
There's one more in the chat, Thorsten.
Yes. So the next question from Ansar, can this be integrated with SAP CPI to see the logs of or messages, as there is a limited space in the SAP CPI for logging? Honestly, I'm not the full expert of the CPI logging capabilities. The SAP CPI local logging capabilities are as well a local observability tools, right? So usually they are integrated with the SAP Cloud ALM system as well. And what SAP offers you is cross navigation between these two experiences. So you would basically monitor your BTP workload, the PaaS workload, the CAP system in Cloud ALM, in addition to the Cloud Logging Service in a central observability experience. And then you navigate if Calm, allows you to and indicates situations there to cloud logging. If you want to analyze CPI related logs, you would navigate to the CPI related experience from Cloud ALM. That's the current context sensitive navigation that is put in place. And if there is really limited space on the SAP CPI logging, I think that would be potentially a feature request you can put into the portal related to the CPI product. And they could consider that. One new message again. So sorry, I'm a bit behind. Ah, yeah, that was just a thank you from Ansar. You're welcome. I think there was another comment by Rahul. You said the starter would be good to have it free of charge. We can take that into consideration for a certain time. As said, I mean, if you play around, you will see that we have a consumption-based pricing with the dev plan, which really is negligible, I think, in terms of costing, especially if you just use it for a couple of days or so. So I encourage you to just look into it, whether this is an option for you. Otherwise, please as well approach us and we can check further on what is your expectation on that side. Oh, there were no new Q&As. An anonymous participant is asking, is this service available in TDT BTP accounts for product development? I think that's a partner-related question. So the cloud logging service is available as well for partners to be used. So yes. Then there was another question: is there a plan to have observability implementation option in RAP-based applications too? Oh, that's a very good question. So for the ones who don't know it, RAP is it's one of the other runtimes, but actually there I'm not the expert. So we have to defer that question to the RAP colleagues. Sorry for that.
So the RAP use case is harder to support, but there are ideas, but I would not say that there are plans on making this happen.
That can be, yes. Yeah.
So there
Thanks
are
for sharing,
plans to
Carsten.
extend this to RAP-based applications also. That's what it is.
I think there are ideas, but there is no roadmap at the moment, and we have to check back with the colleagues on their plans.
Okay.
But thanks for raising it as well. Good. So let me check. There was another. No. Well, I'm thanking you already for your attendance and your very nice set of questions, and I hope as well that you are excited to start the mission. Perhaps I would then hand back to Uraf and to finish us up.
Thanks, Thorsten. So if there are no further questions, I would also like you to, motivate to check out the mission, to start it and then, get hands-on. That really makes a difference. And also some in-person hands-on workshops on some of the other topics. Feel free to start them as well. We would again have the session as a repeat for the Americas and European friendly time zone. So if you joined late or if there are your colleagues sitting in the other part of the world who would like to join the session, please feel free to share this with them. Great. So as I don't see any further questions, I would like to stop the recording here and would like to thank, Gopal, Thorsten, and Carsten for, taking the session and answering the questions, and also to the audience who joined this session. See you in the next one. Until then, thank you so much. Bye.
Bye for now.
Everyone.